many times have we been rejected? How many times have you been told you're overqualified and why nobody hires older workers? Well, today we're going to look at that and we'll look at how to fix it with some examples. So you've heard it before, you're overqualified. It sounds flattering. It's a polite way of saying we think you're too old, you're too expensive, you're not going to stick around. The overqualified label is code for not for skill surplus, but for assumptions. Assumptions about your flexibility, your salary expectations, and your ability to adapt. So let's talk about what's really going on when older professionals get passed over and what you can do about it. First thing is age bias and hiring assumptions. It's real and often subtle. It shows up in phrases like, we're looking for someone who fits our culture. We need fresh energy. You might not find this role challenging enough. What these are polite ways of saying you're not who they pictured. They think you're gonna struggle with change, and they assume you want to manage and not do. None of this may be true, but perception can shape that opportunity. Recognizing coded language in hiring is really important. Hiring managers really say you're too old. Instead, they're going to use coded language. We've gone with someone who's a better fit. You're a strong candidate, but we're looking for someone with a different background. Understanding this language helps you spot bias, not to shame it, but to navigate it. We can also think about flipping that script on the age bias, because going back to that pattern, we can prepare for that. And here's the truth. Age bias often comes with fear, not malice. Hiring managers worry about being challenged by someone with more experience, managing someone older, assumptions about technical skills or flexibility. Now, your job isn't to shrink yourself, it's to address those concerns before they're spoken. Let's also be honest as well. There are some behind the scenes hiring discussions that's going on in the room that maybe you're not in, and they're asking, will they stay long? Do you think they can adapt to our systems? Do you think they'll get along with a younger team? These questions often stem from that unconscious bias, but they're unchallenged assumptions. We need to make sure that we break through those questions. Here's a great question. Should you hide your age on your resume? It's controversial. Should you remove the dates as well? Maybe, but the better question is, are you presenting yourself as the right person for today's challenges? Not yesterday's CV. Trim the early experience. Focus on the last 10 to 15 years. Highlight the adaptability, not just the achievement. And remember, the goal isn't to hide your age, it's to reframe your experience in the context of now. We can also think about reframing assumptions within interviews. In interviews, then, don't wait for them to ask about age-related concerns. Address them head on. I've led digital transformation projects and I enjoy learning new systems. My experience managing international teams has made me better at conflict resolution. I'm not looking for a stepping stone. I'm looking for a meaningful contribution. You're not defending your age. You're showing how your value aligns with their goals. Here's an actual strategy. Think about the value pitch. Stop leading with your job titles and start leading with the problems you solve. Instead of saying, I was the head of operations, you can turn that and say, I've helped companies scale operations whilst reducing overheads by 20% as an example. Make your value measurable, transferable, and immediate. This isn't career history, it's a value proposition. You're going to have to go back to networking and maybe a smarter job approach. Here's the secret. The older you are, the more relationships you build. And that's your power. Most jobs, especially senior ones, don't get filled through applications. They get filled through conversations, referrals, and trust. Reach out to former colleagues, attend target events, go back into the circles that already know your worth. You're not just looking for a job. You're reminding people of the results that you've delivered. Here's another strategy. Storytelling over listening. People connect with stories more than bullet points. Don't just say you've led a team, tell the story. When a major contract collapsed, I led the turnaround strategy to stabilize the team and secured new revenue within a 6-week period. Be specific, show the stakes, show the results. Your story isn't outdated, it's a case study. Here's another strategy. One major stereotype older professionals face is that their resistance to change or tech. Break the myth. Talk about the new platforms you've adopted. Mention recent certifications or online courses. Bring up how you've mentored others. and also learn from younger colleagues. Learning agility isn't about age, it's about mindset. And with that mindset, your experience is an asset. Let's be clear, your age is not the problem. Their assumptions are. Your experience is a competitive advantage, and if you present it with clarity, relevance, and confidence, you'll be okay. You've seen the cycles, you've led through uncertainty, you've delivered the results. Now it's time to remind the market of what you bring to the table and why it matters more than ever. Because nobody hires older workers until you've shown why they should. So there you go. Why nobody hires older workers and some examples on how to fix it. Leave a comment if you need to in the boxes below. Sign, subscribe, do all the normal stuff. Get ready for the next one, and I'll see you on the other side.
Hey everyone. Today we're diving into the evolving world of workplace coaching. With the industry experiencing significant growth, it's really crucial to identify those existing gaps and also understand the challenges that employees and leaders face daily. Did you know that the global coaching industry is projected to grow from approximately $6.25 billion last year to around 7.31 this year? Moreover, the online coaching segment is expected to skyrocket to about $11.7 billion by 2032. This is growing at a compound annual growth rate of about 14%, and these figures really highlight a booming demand for coaching services. But despite this growth, there are still unmet needs within the market. Let's explore some common pain points in the workplace that present opportunities for targeted coaching interventions. First of all, leadership challenges. Now, many managers grapple with building effective teams and fostering trust among their members. They also think about navigating organizational changes and inspiring a shared vision. We'll also think about managing interpersonal conflicts and promoting a positive company culture. These challenges can hinder a team's success and overall morale. Another significant issue is that work-life balance. Employees often struggle to juggle professional responsibilities with a personal life, leading to stress and decreased productivity. Additionally, a lack of recognition and appreciation can demotivate employees, feeling undervalued, and that will affect job satisfaction and retention rates. Understanding these pain points is the first step in addressing them through tailored coaching programs that can bridge the existing gaps in the market, leading to a more satisfied and efficient workplace. That if we understand what these pain points are, how do we address them, and how do we find those coaches that will give you that return of investment, that will address the managers, that will address the workforce, that will then transfer that into a return of investment. We'll look at that and how to find the right coach and how to bring and find the right person for your organization, for your career, for your skill set. And we'll look at that in the next video. Remember, hit the like, hit the subscribe button so you catch the next video in this series. As I said, looking at how to identify the right coach for you. Hey everybody, if you ever second guessed a big decision or delayed the action until it's too late, then you're probably not alone. Today, we'll talk about the practical skills behind confident leadership decisions. And I'll share with you some of the client stories that I've dealt with in the past, and we'll explain some frameworks that have helped leaders like you make bold, effective choices. Now, good decision making isn't about knowing the future. It's about building clarity around what you can control. What we do is we break down this by using models like the decision matrix, the sunk cost fallacy, and the golden rules of decision making. These tools strip away the noise and allow you to focus on what truly matters: the risk, the impact, and the alignment with purpose. An example would be a senior logistics manager that I'd been coaching couldn't move forward without rechecking the data. She was stuck in what-if loops. Using the decision matrix, we prioritized her criteria and cut her analysis time in half. Now, that clarity led to quicker, more confident decisions, but more importantly, it led to a 30% reduction in project delays. Decision making also requires courage, especially when the data is unclear. That's where we introduce scenario planning and tools for navigating complexity and confusion. Leaders often need to act before they have the perfect information. Recently, I was working with a leader in the public sector that needed to restructure his team. It was an emotionally charged situation, and we used scenario walkthroughs to explore the likely outcomes and engage his senior team in values-based reflection. And we linked those values back to the organization, because those behaviors that he wanted in the restructure came from the values. This gave him the confidence to act, and the restructure ultimately improved morale and performance. Leadership is about moving forward, not standing still. It's hands-on and immersive. What you need to do is you need to have the practical tools and the skills and the courage to lead decisively. Stay tuned for the next video, and we'll see you on the other side. Are your managers really coaching, or are they giving the advice? That's the question that many people ask themselves, particularly when they first start going through the coaching journey, particularly in the workplace. So you may have invested a lot of money in personal development, soft skill training, but how do you know that that has been transferred into the workplace? So I think that's the real big question when you pay or you develop a coaching program. How do you coach the coach? How do you give the managers the skill sets in order to ask the right questions, raise that awareness, generate responsibility, and really facilitate the performance? Because that's what we're really talking about, is how do you get that performance from your employees? So I suppose the real thing there is, are they giving advice, or are they asking powerful questions? Because it's easy to go back to that tell mode. It's easy to go back once they're stressed. So in times of stress, people regress. So it's easy to go back. That's how they're going to do that. They'll go back to the style that they feel most comfortable with, and ultimately that's going to be the tell style. Also, managers, if they are struggling with asking those powerful questions, will sometimes start to do the work for themselves. They may be simpler in order to just tell those individuals, this is what you need to do, go away and do it. You'll still get results, but you won't get necessarily the better results long term. Now, by doing this, people, managers will feel stuck in what they're doing. They'll feel stressed. They'll feel like that they can't do it, not necessarily getting the results. And then they'll put more pressure on HR business partners. And what we want to do is we want to relieve the stress on HR partners so that we're empowered and have the autonomy to coach for ourselves. In that way, our employees, in essence, are doing it for themselves. So the real problem in coaching is that managers probably haven't had the practice or the skills and haven't been taught how to do it properly in the first instance. It's almost like they're talking a good coach, or the individual that has given them the first part of skill has just imparted and not facilitated that performance. It's also particularly difficult to do this on micro learning. So if you're doing coach training on an on-demand program, then where do you go for the practice? Where do you go to get the feedback? Because that's the difficult part, is you need the feedback in order to analyze your performance, in order to practice, in order to be evaluated, to have more feedback, and so the cycle goes round and round. And if you think about applying a GROW model, which we've spoken about in the past, on top of coaching, remember, a GROW model is all about goal setting, action planning, taking action, and action reviewing. So in essence, the GROW is almost like a loop in itself. So that's an important thing there. It's a tool, but has a feedback loop built into it as well. So what's the magic solution? So I take it, for me, the magic solution is having the ability to ask the right questions to create accountability. And I mentioned about raising awareness, generating responsibility, and facilitating a performance. That's it. It's having the ability to do that with your coachees. So managers need that skill set in order to do that right. They need to be able to ask effective questions. They've got to be able to actively listen. They've got to respond with empathy. They've got to do all of this whilst not going into mentoring mode and telling people this is what you want to do. Now, sometimes you might have to do that, but ultimately we want to believe in the power of an effective question. Now, by doing this, this will mean that it reduces the impact and the resilience or reliance, on HR. Doing all of this is going to drive real performance. Setting this out at the beginning of the year, throughout the year, check-ins, career conversations, one-to-ones, in meetings, just general conversations. This will raise performance throughout the organization. It'll also give managers confidence in order to do that. The big thing, though, is where do you go to get a coach the coach solution? So for me, this is important. You need to go to a provider or an individual inside the organization or outside the organization that gets it, that really understands what it's like to coach the coach. So an example would be myself as an example, who has had a lot of investment in coaching the coach, and that is coaching for performance within the workplace. As I've mentioned in the past, I was lucky enough to have Sir John Whitmore, who, if you go and read his book, Coaching for Performance in the Workplace, it's almost like the Bible of coaching. And I was lucky enough to have worked with him to see that in real action and the ability of coaching the coach, placing in a coaching framework into an organization. Because here's the thing, if you play at coaching, a lot of organizations will end up going, hey, we tried coaching, but it didn't work. Yeah, we tried that in the past, but it doesn't work. Coaching doesn't work because they haven't placed the mechanism in that initially it's something new to eventually it's something we do. So I think it's important that you place in the framework and legacy for coaching to succeed. Remembering that it's not the solution to every problem, it's just a tool, like a leadership tool that a good leader, a good manager is going to take with them. So what do you think? What's your coaching like within your organization? Do you have a coach the coach? Do you have a coaching framework? Let me know what's going on. Reach out. Let's get some conversations starting. And if you need any further information, just DM me, message me. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, hit the bell icon because that'll notify you when I'm about to release another video. And remember, I'll see you on the other side. So, who's in your corner this year? The truth is, no matter how talented or experienced you are, everybody needs a mentor to unlock their full potential. So the question is, who's mentoring you? In a fast-paced world that we're living in at the moment, personal and professional growth can sometimes take a backseat. Everybody wants everything now. There's pressures, there's times, there's KLPs, there's objectives, timelines, and everybody's up against it. However, in order for that personal and professional growth to happen, I think this is where mentorship can really come in. A great mentor does more than just share the advice. They challenge your thinking and help you see blind spots and push you to grow in ways that you've never thought possible. If you think about, that classic sort of thinking outside the box thing, it enables you to take the blinkers off and to look left and right and actually see what's going on. So I think they're really great there at giving you another perspective because they're going to provide clarity and insights from their experience. This can help you navigate any challenges that you've got with more confidence. They'll also make you more accountable. So this, for me, is really about, keeping track of your goals so that you don't sort of settle for mediocrity. So you're always there, you're striving, you're really pushing to achieve what's being set. But not only just achieve them, but then go above and beyond as well. And that's what's going to set you apart from your peers within the organization. One of the other things that having a mentor do is sort of they can open the doors from a networking perspective, particularly in larger organizations where you'll be able to be exposed to other people, other projects, other connections that perhaps maybe you wouldn't have had otherwise. So I'm a good believer in networking, but inside your organization as well. That's mentorish, and mentorship can help do that as well. So for me, it's all, whether it's about improving your leadership skills, advancing your career, or mastering a new skill, a mentor really does accelerate your growth. So for me, who's going to guide you on your next breakthrough? Who is going to get you to break through some limiting beliefs, or do you have any limiting beliefs? So if you do have somebody in mind, now is the time. Seek out a mentor who is going to align with your aspirations. Now, if you can't find somebody, then reach out in your organization. Speak to the HR business partners, the talent partners. See if there's any coaches that are there in your organization that can help with that mentorship as well. There are people out there that can really help and give you the advice from that mentoring perspective. I think for me is, don't be afraid to ask. We all need mentors. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask. See you on the other side. How to create a career plan that actually works. Let me guess, you're feeling stuck in a career or unsure what your next step should be. Don't worry, you're not alone. The good news? You don't need a crystal ball to figure out your future. You need a solid career plan. Now in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create one that works. No fluff, no boring lectures, just real steps that you can take to design a career that you love. Hi, I'm Martin, and I've helped countless people like you figure out exactly what your next career or your next career move. Now, whether you're starting fresh, pivoting industries, or leveling up in your current field, having a career plan is like having a GPS for your future. You'll avoid the detours, save time, and get where you want to get faster. Okay, step one, start with you. Before you can plan, you need to know, well, what is it that you're aiming for? So you might want to ask yourself some questions. For example, what do I enjoy doing? Not just the work that you do in general. Well, what am I naturally good at? Think about those skills that people compliment you on. What kind of environment do I thrive in? Is it fast-paced or structured? Is it remote or in the office? You need to be brutally honest here. A career plan isn't about impressing others. It's about aligning what makes you tick. For example, when I started my career, I thought I wanted to climb the corporate ladder. But when I really sat down and reflected, I realized I wanted to work that gave me flexibility and made an impact. And that shift changed everything for me. Okay, next, let's talk about goals. Think about your career as having two buckets, short-term goals, long-term goals. Now, short-term goals, what do you want to accomplish in the next year or two? Maybe it's getting a certification, mastering a new skill, or even landing a specific role. Your long-term goals, this is the big picture vision now. Where do you see yourself in 5, 10, or even 20 years? Maybe you want to build a team, start your own business, or work in a completely new industry. Once you've written those down, make sure you're using the SMART method as well. I've spoken about SMART in previous videos, so go ahead, I'll try and put a link, but if not, check in the playlist and you'll be able to see those as well. Make sure that they're really clear, actionable, and motivating. What I would say about SMART, if you add ER on the end, you can by making them enjoyable and realistic, it will ensure that you get to where you need to go as well. Okay, now you've done this, it's time to really bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So this is where you're going to build your roadmap, and this is where that comes in. Here's how to build one. First of all, break it down. What steps do you need to take to reach your goals? For example, if your goal is to move into a leadership role, maybe the steps you might want to be: take a leadership course, volunteer to lead a project, seek mentorship from someone in management. Once you've done that, think about setting milestones. These are like mini goals that keep you on track. For example, completing the leadership course by March, or get feedback from my manager on my leadership potential by June. And stay flexible. Life happens and career paths aren't always linear, but that's okay. Adjust your plan as you grow and learn about yourself and the industry that you want to work in. Here's the thing. Once you've done that, you need to take action to measure the progress. A career plan is useless if it just sits in a drawer. You've got to take action. Start small, schedule that course, send that email, update your CV. Progress doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be consistent. And don't forget to check in with yourself. Set aside time every few months or days or weeks to review your plan. What's working? What's not? Adjust as needed. And remember, it's your career. You're in control. Well, there you go. That's it. Now it's your turn. Take 30 minutes today or start building your career plan. Trust me, future you will thank you for it. And hey, if you're feeling stuck or need a little bit of extra guidance, reach out to me or drop your questions in the comments below. But let's get moving toward the career that you deserve. Now, if you found it useful, give it a like, share it with someone who needs it, and don't forget to follow for more career advice. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to the latest video, and in this video we're going to touch on the GROW model. Now, the GROW model is an effective framework for goal setting and problem solving within coaching. What we'll do is we'll kind of walk through the history of the GROW model, its key stages, and how to apply it in real life coaching scenarios and also the workplace. Now, again, for some of you, you may use this all the time. So for some of you, you may not have been exposed to the GROW model, but we'll walk you through it and see what you think. Also, I'd be really keen to see your experiences if you've used the GROW model, how it works, how it doesn't work, just to get some comparison and to see what you think. Again, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and give it a thumbs up. Really helps us to grow in our infancy stages. Now, the GROW model was developed in the UK and became widely popular in the corporate coaching in the 1980s and 1990s. So you can see it goes back quite a long way, and it was influenced by Tim Gallwey's inner game method. Me personally, I prefer the inner game of golf to the inner game of tennis. That's purely because I can relate more to golf. I would recommend, if you haven't read it, have a read of Tim Gallwey's inner game method, where it talks about what's happening within the brain from a self-talk perspective. Absolutely fantastic book. And I think we may touch on Tim Gallwey's inner game at some stage as well. So the GROW model, primarily implemented by Sir John Whitmore, who used it to help individuals achieve their goals through structured coaching conversations. Now, I had the pleasure of seeing Sir John in action over a 2-year period as I worked with him in an organization to implement a coaching framework. So I'm speaking from experience in the use of the GROW model when we go through the remainder of this video. Now, the GROW model is structured into 4 key stages: goal, reality, options, and will. And what we'll do is we'll look at each of the stages and the types of questions that you may ask to guide the coaching process. The first stage is the goal. Now, this is where you define a clear and specific goal that the individual wants to achieve. We can use the SMART framework of specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound to ensure that the goal is as specific as possible. What we don't want is a wishy-washy goal. We want the goal to be as specific as possible by going through that SMART objectives. And again, a number of you will have seen how to use the SMART in other things. So the SMART is familiar to a lot of people, but we can really dig down and make sure. Now, if we apply the SMART at any stage it doesn't work, or the goal is not SMART, then we shouldn't use the goal. Now, if you think about it, apply that to KPIs that you may have been given, targets, objectives, whatever you're doing in life. If you apply that SMART to your goal and it's not working, then perhaps maybe you need to look at changing the goal. So by asking questions like, what do you want to achieve? How can you make this goal more specific? When would you want to achieve this goal? If you were to achieve it, what would it look like? What is the measure of this goal and how are you going to achieve it? Are examples of some questions that you may want to think about asking. Next, we move to the reality. And here is the focus on reflecting on the current situation. It's important to be objective and really take stock of what's working and what's not working. So in essence, the reality is, where are you now in relation to the goal that you want to achieve? So again, if you're thinking about questions, those questions will be, where are you now in relation to the goal? What progress have you made so far? What skills or resources do you have? It's those type of questions that are going to dig down into where are you in relation to that. And I'm going to touch more on that later on as well. So I'll show you a reference point for that. In the option stage, it's time to brainstorm different ways to achieve the goal. The key here is to think creatively and explore multiple positions. It's, anything is what you could do. Absolutely anything from there is how could you tackle this differently? Who could you go to for information? What else could you try? What options have you established so far? Who could you go and visit to do this? It's absolutely everything that you can think of. So you can brainstorm it, and there is nothing that's off the cards. There is nothing that's off the table. Absolutely everything in this stage can be a brainstorming. If you think about putting yellow post-its on a wall and stuff like that, absolutely fantastic. Get as many options down in what you could do. Now, the final stage is the will. And this is where any of your options, you're going to turn them into actions. So in essence, the will is an action plan, and it's focusing on the commitment that you will actually do to achieve the goal. Now, some grow models I've seen use the way forward. My personal preference, and this is my personal preference, is to stick with the will, because the way forward can sound, in certain situations, a little bit wishy-washy. So my personal preference is to keep it the will, because I'm really honing in on what will you do and making people accountable for taking those actions as well. So it's really focusing on, when are you going to start? When will you see them by? Timings, absolutely everything. You're absolutely going to pin down an action plan based on all of those options that you've gone through as well. And again, it's that commitment. So, and for me, it's getting the person or you to take accountable for those actions, because you can then turn around after a period of time and say, okay, you said you were going to do this. However, you haven't done it. Or you said you were going to do this. What results did you get? So we can look at those kind of results from there as well. But in essence, as I said, it is what will you do? Okay. So in essence, really, if you think about here is the goal and here is the reality, you could almost place that on like a gap analysis. You're doing an analysis with a gap. So for example, if you're starting the year and you're talking about what a performance or your performance for the year from a KPI perspective, if you've got a KPI target, where are you now in relation to the KPI target? And that's your gap analysis. What you can now do is go through all of the options and produce an action plan on how you're going to achieve that objective of the KPI. So you can see that's something that you've probably done already or you're familiar with. What we've done is we've placed the GROW model on top of an action or a target that you've got in the workplace so that it can help get the results. Because when we're talking about coaching, particularly for performance, it's about results. It's about the return of investment from getting those results. And therefore, for me, the GROW model is almost like a primary model that I can place on top of other things that I'm doing as well. So again, KPIs, objectives, absolutely everything. If there's a goal somewhere, I need a reality. Where am I in relation to that goal? And then I can go through the rest of the GROW process. So there we have it. The GROW tool is a powerful primary model framework for goal setting and coaching. By regularly revisiting your goals, reflecting on the progress, and committing to actions, you can achieve lasting growth and success, not only within the business setting, but within a personal setting as well. And remember, it's a roadmap to success. What I want to do, thank you for taking quick introduction to the GROW if you haven't seen it before, and we'll maybe build on that in subsequent videos as well. Certainly we will touch on the inner game later on as well. It also, I think for me, is if you go through the process and you have an action plan at the end of it, it will give you confidence that you can achieve those goals. Okay, so those goals become meaningful and you're then becoming empowered. If you're working with teammates or people in your workplace or even at home, it means that you have more confidence to achieve what you need to achieve as well. Okay, so again, interested, leave any thoughts that you've got in the comments below, and remember to hit a like and subscribe, and look out for the next video. Yeah, I'll see you on the other side. Hi, my name is Martin, and I've been working in the world of talent acquisition, talent development, including leadership, coaching, for a number of global organizations. I've also been perhaps maybe where you've been, looking for another career, a career change, applying for jobs, etc. This gives me a unique perspective because one, I've been there, so I know what it feels like to apply for these jobs. And secondly, I've been on the inside of the organization, so I understand what it takes to get that interview and to secure that role from an internal perspective. So bearing that in mind, let's dive in and take an exciting journey into the world of trying to secure a job for you over 50. Now, whether or not that's choosing another pathway, another career, maybe upskilling, or maybe just trying to find some joy in whatever you're doing at the moment for that work-life balance. This is your time to shine. I think one of the first things that you need to think about is the mindset. This is really important to approach this change with confidence. You've acquired a wealth of knowledge and skills over a period of time from what you've been currently doing. It's time to use those and leverage them as well. So we can take that and leverage it for a new role. It's important as well that before we do anything, we also need to reflect on where we are. What is it that we truly want to achieve? What is our next career? In order to do that, we need to set some goals, and we need to ensure that those goals are as specific as possible and also make sure they're achievable. If we do this, it will set us up in good stead. I'm going to touch on those in subsequent videos, so more about that slightly later. Once we've built our goals and we've got them as detailed as possible, it's then time to think about your personal brand and what that brand looks like. Now that could be revamping the CV or looking at your LinkedIn profile to make sure that it reflects what you really want to do. What I would say about that is don't be afraid to put the achievements on there as well. You know, really shine and stand out. It's time to look at what your brand awareness is and what it says about you. Once we've got that brand sorted, we can think about networking, maybe reaching out to past colleagues, thinking about going to some industry events. We can also look at forums. Forums are a great way to interact with people who may be doing what you want to do. LinkedIn has a number of forums and communities, so you can go on there and do the relevant research. Don't be afraid to ask questions in these forums as well. People will help, and if you ask the questions, people will answer those questions as well. There's also a thing that perhaps maybe we can upskill. Maybe we can develop some new skills for things. So think about online courses, certifications, maybe just doing some continual personal development. Now, what that shows an employer is that you're willing and open to change. A lot of companies will look at individuals and say, are you open to change? We move at pace. Can you change with us? If you're stuck in a rut or you're stuck in the past, then you're not going to be open to change. Think of it as a train at a train station. Are you on the train or are you going to get left behind at the train station? Finally, let's embrace this journey with a positive attitude. It's important as well that we need to be patient. This isn't going to happen overnight. We've got to develop the brand. We've got to produce the CV. We maybe have to upskill. We've got networking to do. So we need to think about this with patience and with a positive attitude as well. If we do all of this, then we will change. Thank you for taking the time to drop in today. What we will do is, as this series progresses, we'll do lots more deep diving into some of the topics that I've touched upon, and we'll do deep dives into some other topics. If there are any topics that you want to look at in the future, please make sure that you write them in the comments below, and we can use those and I'll expand on those as well. Make sure you leave a like and a subscribe. That means a lot as well. And also, I want you to take confidence and courage going forward that these are the best years of your professional life still to come. And whatever we're doing, and no matter how we're going to do it, remember, just keep smiling. That positive attitude, if you smile, that positivity will resonate. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the other side.
here in the south of France, beautiful sunshine at Sanary-sur-Mer Rugby Club, just trying to illustrate a little bit about pressure and stress and dealing with it, and for me that involves being on the field and kicking a few balls. For me it's very important to try and make it harder, more stress, more pressure, more difficult, all those things in training than it possibly could be in a game. I don't think I'd ever end up taking a kick from here in a game, I hope not anyway, but the idea being if you can hit the bullseye on the dartboard, then hitting the dartboard itself isn't too difficult. I tell you, it does get you going. Now see, this one's slightly different. Again, another very, very specific aim to try and land the ball on the crossbar. This is the one. Trying to hit that kick, you know, professional pride means the butterflies are flying around, and it's not a bad thing. I'm stood there and I can actually see my shirt moving with your heartbeat, and everyone thinks, oh, you're calm and you're drowning out the crowd, but it's the last thing that happens. You know the situation, you know when you're 2 points down, you know whether you need it, whether it's the last kick of the game, whether it's the first. All that matters is a little circle around you. You get that bit right, the rest will follow. If you can get comfortable with being under pressure, being anxious and nervous, then it becomes something more that you know is second nature and a bit more instinctive. In terms of dealing with stress, is to find ways of counteracting it. Find a time to think of absolutely nothing. You know, don't overthink things. It's about giving yourself the best opportunity to make the most of everything in your life, and that means looking after your body. It means looking after your diet. It means using deodorant. It's just taking care of your body. It's what gets you through, and ultimately you ask a lot of questions of it, so you need to look after it.
There are two kinds of rugby players, boys. There's honest ones and there's the rest. Okay. The honest player gets up in the morning and looks himself in the fucking mirror and sets his standard, sets his stall out and says, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get better. He doesn't complain about the food or the beds or the referees or all these sort of things. These are just peripheral things that weak players are always complaining about. The dishonest player. If I tell a player he's too high or he's not tight enough, he's too fucking high. He's not tight enough, and that's it. And I'm the judge and not the player. And we accept that, and we do something about it. I've coached Lions teams before, and we've complained and carped about this, that, and the next thing. And I liken it a bit to the British and the Irish going abroad on holiday. The first thing they look for is a fucking English pub. The second thing they look for is a pint of Guinness. And the third thing they look is a fish and chip shop. The only thing they accept is the sun. They don't take on anything that's good or decent or different abroad. If we do that, we're sunk. Because we don't go back bitching, we don't go back carping, oh, we've done it this at Twickenham or Arms Park or Lansdowne Road or Murrayfield. No, these days are past. What's accepted over there is not accepted over here. And it's not accepted by us, me, and you. So from now on, the page is turned. We're on a new book. Different attitudes. We're honest with ourselves. And in many respects in the forward play, and let's be fucking honest, we've been second best. We can match them, but only if we get it right here and right here. 2 weeks. There's battles all along the way. There's a battle on Wednesday, there's a battle on Saturday, there's a battle next Wednesday, and there's a battle the following Saturday, there's a battle the following Tuesday, until we're fucking into the big arena. The one we were there on Saturday. And by that time the fucking Lions have to make them fucking roar for us. Because they'll be baying for blood. And let's hope it's fucking Springbok blood. We're focused. From now on, the kit gloves are off. It's bare knuckle fucking stuff. And only at the end of the day will the man who's standing on his feet win the fucking battle.
Forget about the rest of the session, right? Forget about the rest of the session. Forget about what we're going to do later. Now is the time we fucking crawl off this machine. We crawl off the fucking thing. Yes? Every fucking ounce goes into this. This is the most important fucking part for Wednesday. Every fucking ounce. Right? Come on.
Exactly right.
Ready! Ready! No! Ready! Ready! No! Ready! Ready! No!
It's their ball, his feet are back, there's 8 against 7. When his leg moves, we knock them back. Exactly what they're doing to us. Okay. That's good. Hold it there. Squeeze it in. Squeeze it in. No, okay. You only had 300 on you there. You never moved it. Fucking bunch of cats could move that.
Ask, don't tell. Simple as it sounds, that's the message. To illustrate it, John is going to allow one accomplished golfer in the group to take a volunteer and tell them how to hit the ball, while John himself attempts to get another novice swinging effectively by doing nothing more than asking questions.
Take a swing at a couple of them.
First of all, your feet should be roughly shoulders apart. Okay, so just stand like that. Yes, but that foot actually...
Just imagine yourself trying to cope with all the instructions Lindsay is about to receive.
You've got to grip the club. I'll hold your hands open like that. Okay? And put your fingers over the golf club so the thumbs are in line with the arms. And get your arms straight. Now, move your hands down the club. And the small finger at the back, can you just lock it over like that? Okay, now, what, I don't want to, no, that finger's supposed to be in line with your arm. So, put that over like that. So far. No. Let's go like that. Finger in line. Okay? Now, what I'd like you to do is just swing at that ball. And then we'll take it from there. Go on, swing.
Meanwhile, instead of telling Mandy, John coaches her by just asking her questions.
Find out what you notice when you're swinging at the ball. Where are you paying attention, what you're looking at, what you're feeling, anything that you notice when you go ahead and do this, yeah? Okay?
I wanted to hit the ball.
Okay, so
I was more or less concentrating on the ball.
You're concentrating on seeing the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Weigh up for yourself the advantages and disadvantages of these contrasting coaching techniques. The two key things John's trying to achieve with his questions are raising awareness and generating responsibility.
Just tell me what part of your body feels more awkward than the rest. You might want to divide yourself in two and start off by saying, well, arms and shoulders. Let's see how that feels this time. Then next time we'll check out below the waist. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So just tell me what's going on this time.
It doesn't feel sort of very fluid.
Doesn't feel very fluid. Okay. Feels you're making an effort. So you would like to hit the ball in a fluid way, is that right? Okay. So let's make a fluidness scale, all right? Where 10 is very fluid and 0 is very awkward. All right? Let's just tell me where this is on that scale. Just hit this one and tell me where it is on the scale.
About 5.
About 5. Okay.
Now keep that side, imagine that side being against a wall. So keep it straight. And if you're swinging back, then hit, remembering that side is flat against the wall. Okay? Right, now just go back a bit. Your shoulders need to be straight. You've got one shoulder down like that, okay? So can you keep both shoulders still and your head down looking at the ball? Okay? Now, can you also bend your knees a bit?
What else would you like to do? What would be the next step for you? Is there some other area of discomfort, or would you like to add in something? Next step for improvement for you. If you wanted something else in your golf, what would it be?
I'd like to do one of those nice sort of high ones.
You'd like to hit it high?
A powerful one.
Okay, let's come back to our scale again. Let's just make a scale so we know what we're working with. Hit one and then tell me where that is on your power scale with 10 high.
A 6.
Okay.
It's more like it.
By the time this session finished, Mandy and Lindsay were both hitting the ball much better than when they started. But Mandy had reached her success through a process in her control, which she shaped, and most importantly, which she now owns. Because she made her own discoveries, the experience had a big impact on her. You can almost feel the pleasure she gets from acquiring a new skill.
Got it.
Done it, haven't you? Can't believe this. Oh, well done.
You looked as if you really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I did. It was absolutely amazing. I can't believe that he could make me even hit the ball properly, let alone do anything else. It was incredible.
Did he make you do it?
No, he didn't. No.
Who was doing it?
Me.
Was he telling you how to do it?
No, not at all. He didn't tell me how to do it at all. He just made me more aware of what I was actually doing.
being marched into the arena to the tune of Heart of Oak, the competing crews line up with their guns and limbers on the starting line.
The field gun competition dates back to 1907. 1,000 volunteers are considered and slimmed down to 3 crews of 18. Serious training lasts only 9 weeks and crews' height and age varies considerably. Lieutenant Commander Ken Mathers lights the thunder flash to signal the start between Devonport near side and Portsmouth on the far side.
Battle Commander has ignited the thunder flash, the bugle calls. And away go the crews on the first stage of the run this afternoon. Now what's down at the wide road end, everything, men, guns, limbers, all go over the home walls. In the centre of the arena now, the sheer legs are set up, and on top go the 28-foot spars, which help to carry the first 2 men of each of the crews across the chasm. They're followed by the 10-foot spars. There you see the 10-foot spars will be slotted securely into the ramps on what is known as the enemy side of the chasm. Up go the wires, on the wires the travellers, and over on the travellers go men with wheels. The wheels weigh 120 pounds each, then the limbers follow. The gun barrels, you see one of the barrels crossing on the Portsmouth side of the arena at the moment. The gun barrels weigh more than 900 pounds each. Everything then manhandled across the arena through the small hole in the enemy wall, and they prepare to fire their guns for the first 3 rounds.
The race in 3 parts shows Devonport in the lead on the first stage, the run out.
And here they go on the second stage in response to the bugle call. Everything now over the enemy walls. And already the first 2 men of each of the crews has crossed the chasm on the traveller and has sent the traveller back for their comrades who follow behind. The first of them with wheels, 120 pounds apiece. The gun limbers follow, and see how apparently easily they bring the great weight of the gun to the top of the ramp on the enemy side of the chasm. The first piece of the gun to cross is the great weight of the gun barrel, there to hang suspended between the sheer legs to await the arrival of the gun carriage. And when the gun carriage arrives, the wheels are slipped onto the axles, the barrel lowered, and the gun taken away to the new firing position.
Go in then or not? No.
When the flying angels come over, they bring the 10-foot spars with them, and when that's satisfactorily completed, down go the sheer legs.
The second stage, the run back, and Devonport extend their lead, with Portsmouth encountering more than a few problems.
Once more, everything has to be properly prepared before the third and final stage of the run begins. And here's your last chance to cheer your favourite crew through the walls and back to the finishing line as everything goes through the hole in the home walls. And when they're hooked up, they pull for home.
Portsmouth salvage some pride with a run home, but have too much ground to make up on Devonport, who await their winning time. A 4-minute run was first recorded in 1948 and a 3-minute run in 1962. Nowadays, runs in less than 3 minutes are fairly commonplace, the record being 2 minutes 40.6 seconds, achieved when the teams had double the amount of preparation time. The daily results of this competition are followed throughout the Royal Navy and signalled to ships all over the world. The result tonight? Portsmouth, 3 minutes 7.16 seconds. Devonport, 2 minutes 53.75 seconds.